3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode number 52 of... is it 52?
I think it's 53, right? It might be 52.
Episode number 50-something of Teddybears and Tentacles podcast. My name is Quinn, and I'm your host, and I have with me today Skinny Rick.
That's right.
Also the host.
That's me. Correct.
What's going on, man?
Just chilling, looking up if it's the right episode number.
52. Yeah, dude, I had it right.
52.
Cool. So episode number 52. We took a week off last week, did we?
1
Maybe
week
not.
ago.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess we didn't take a week off. I thought we took a week off.
Did we?
I don't know, man, but we're about to take a week off. Anyway, we've had a lot of stuff happen since the last episode, whenever that was, and we have a lot to cover. So let's go ahead and start with the first tab. This is just some random stuff that I kind of ran into through the last week.
This is not what I was expecting.
Yeah, so let's read this. This is from HuffPost. I would just say what it is, but then that's pretty much the whole thing. So scroll up a bit. Or is this the top of it already?
You want me to go?
Just go to underneath that
This?
whatever that is, that lady's mouth.
What?
Yeah, it was just a lady's mouth on that
Oh.
video. So Vietnamese police say they will investigate a factory that was found recycling about 320,000 used condoms for resale. Local media reported Thursday. Following a tip from local resident Ben Dong, provincial market inspectors over the weekend raided a factory near Mo Chi Minh City where they found used condoms being repacked for sale at the market, the state-owned Tui Tray paper reported. A market inspector said the owner of the factory, a 34-year-old woman, confessed that they bought the used condoms from a man in the province. The condoms were washed, reshaped, and packed into plastic packages, the newspaper said. It said the police announced they will investigate and track down others involved in the operation. A call to police for comment was not answered on Thursday. So, this is obviously like a huge health risk. It's pretty crazy, dude. I've never, a couple, did we cover this on the podcast maybe like a month or two ago? There was a lady somewhere in an Asian country that had washed like $40,000 or something like that because she was scared that it had COVID on it. It was like $40,000 cash and destroyed it. The government replaced it. Did we talk about that on here?
I think so.
Yeah, well, this is basically a lot more hardcore than that.
The guy's name is Ben Dong.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
That seems sus to me.
Isn't it great whenever people's names are like go with the crime that they're like Anthony Weiner? You know what I mean? Like,
oh man,
I don't know, dude. This is pretty crazy. 320,000 used condoms. First off, I don't know how much condoms are over there, but they're not extremely expensive in general. So why would you?
Money, dude. They're trying to get money.
Maybe
they're trying to get money and AIDS. Those are the two that they're trying to get.
Man, it's pretty nasty, but yeah, I'll be curious to see what this investigation, like what they get charged with and all of that. Yeah, it's gross.
First of all, I don't like the idea of ever really being in a situation where, I'm using anything that belonged to someone else that goes on, on my body.
Yeah.
Like clothes, even then.
Yeah.
Like I want to wash them.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, if someone gives me their hat, I'm not, I'm not putting on the hat.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to,
Hat and shoes are off limits for me. Anything that you wear that gets real musty, no, dude. And that's the mustiest thing you can get right there. wiener sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wiener glove, they call it.
Yeah, dude.
Sometimes.
Pretty crazy. What's the next thing?
Not really sure.
Wow,
There's a lot of stuff happening right here. That's the top of it.
Whoa, dude.
What are you talking about?
Dude, what is happening? Scroll down some.
It's a stock thing.
Can you hit back on that page and see if it'll
Is it one of these? This?
No. Okay, well, I don't know which one that is. What's the next one? Scroll up. Okay, so the main thing that we wanted to cover today was 2 days ago, 2 nights ago, was the first of the Trump-Biden presidential debates. Which, did you watch them?
No.
Okay, so I watched them about 2.5 times, and I read the transcript multiple times. And the reason that I did that was there was tons of crosstalk in it where they literally went 7 to 10 seconds at times, where both of them were talking over one another, saying different things. It was extremely unprofessional, but in my opinion, the result of it was the demonstration that neither one of these guys are fit or are professional enough to be sitting at that desk, in my opinion. I mean,
I saw a tweet what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? It made me so happy. It was man, this sucks. I like them both.
That's hilarious. That's really funny. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see that, but that's funny. But I did see a lot of people were saying, Trump was kind of getting into it with Chris Wallace, the moderator. Honestly, like more than he did with Joe Biden in certain segments. So It was like, man, the Trump Chris Wallace debate was crazy tonight. Dude, it was bizarre. You go up there and they're supposed to present different topics and questions within the topics, and each segment is set to last 15 minutes with 2-minute segments within each segment, in which each is supposed to have interrupted time, and that never happened. Joe Biden told Trump to shut up once. He told him to stop yapping once. But there's a lot of controversy kind of surrounding it too. Two really bizarre things kind of happened in it. And we want to talk about those things today. So one of the things that got brought up by President Trump was Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden's alleged $3.5 million transfer from the former wife of the former Moscow mayor's. I don't know any other way to say that. He got $3.5 million from the former mayor of Moscow's wife. So Trump brings that up, and
how weird.
Joe Biden says that it has been delegitimized and that it's not real. And so we want to kind of go over it and talk about why that got brought up. It did hit the news about 2 days before the debates, but it never really got covered in depth, which I don't think that what we're going to share now is going to shed a lot more light on the situation. But I figured that we would just read it for the people who don't really know what he was talking about. So this is from Forbes. As he repeatedly interrupted and spoke over Joe Biden during the first presidential debate on Tuesday, President Trump sought to shift the conversation to Hunter Biden and the $3.5 million payment Hunter allegedly received from the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. Scroll down some. So these are the key facts. Trump raised the allegation about the payment at least 10 times on Tuesday. And whenever it says 10 times, it just means they were arguing. And he would say, it's not real. And he goes, it's $3.5 million. And he say, yeah, but it's been, they've discredited it. And he goes, but 3 point. So that's what he's talking about whenever they say 10 times. The payment the president was referring to was an allegation detailed in a report into Hunter Biden's dealings in Ukraine released by Senators Ron Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, and Chuck Grassley from Iowa last week, which was criticized for being politically motivated and resurfacing old claims that were initially raised during the Senate impeachment trial. The report alleges an investment from Hunter Biden co-founded Rosemont Seneca Thornton received $3.5 million in a wire transfer from Elena Baturina, who allegedly received illegal construction contracts from her husband, the former mayor of Moscow. The alleged payment to the investment firm was a part of a consultancy agreement with Baturina, though the report does not claim there's anything illegal about the transaction. Hunter's lawyer, George Messeries, told Washington Post Biden was not a co-founder of the investment firm and had no interest in it. Therefore, the claim that he was paid $3.5 million is false. So then it just says that, it's proven to be untrue. So basically, the controversy that surrounds this is that this firm that he was consulting had been involved in money laundering and sex trafficking at some point, and that Trump brings it up himself in the debate that Hunter Biden was being paid $180,000 per month, and that's how the $3.5 million sum was given to him. So, we kind of I dug into it a little bit. It is stuff that, like they say, was brought up in the impeachment trial. The impeachment trial, that investigation covered tons of different things, including everything that had been involved within the last couple of years. Hunter Biden being one of those things. If you remember, some picture surfaced after Joe Biden had said that he had no dealings with the Ukraine of him and his son and, playing golf with the Ukrainian people. So that's kind of what that's about. Do we have another tab on this? I think I do. Yeah, so this is one that just kind of runs through the thing. We're not going to go through this on, the how it was actually old claims that were repackaged and represented. It's kind of look like new stuff. As we get closer to the election, you're going to see more stuff like that. More than likely, false narratives being spun. Yeah, from both sides. Yeah. It's going to be from both sides. So, it's just one of those things to where, really the whole debate was just them taking shots at one another. Very little policy was actually covered. The policy that they did cover was mostly on, climate change, which was interesting with the political climate that we're in today.
Which is
not
changing.
much actual policy was discussed. So let's go to the next thing. Okay, so I have two transcripts here that I'm going to be reading from. This is from the debate itself. There are two reasons I want to read this. One being that they were talking over each other at different points. This particular point has bred controversy just because of because of the political climate that we're in. The other reason that I wanted to read this is because it actually, this particular transcript was the first one whenever you Google that popped up, and it leaves out probably the most important thing that this controversy is kind of centered around right now. So at different points, you hear Trump tell Joe Biden that he lost the left. One of them being he was kind of prodding at him, trying to get him to even say, if you even say the words law and order, you will lose the radical left. Also at one point, Joe Biden, he was kind of prodding at Joe Biden about the protests He's like, you're like, there's all this violence and this rioting and stuff that's going on. He's like, but you call that a peaceful protest. And he's like, go ahead and, say it's not. Like, you can't say that it's not a peaceful protest because you'll lose your side. And the same thing at one point happened with Trump. So this is what I wanted to go over. So let's scroll up just a little bit. I'll tell you when to stop so that we can get the whole. So in this portion, Chris Wallace asks Donald Trump, this is what he says: "You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa and other left-wing extremist groups. But you are willing tonight to condemn white supremacists.
But are you?
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia group and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?" So Kenosha, he's referring to the 17-year-old that had shot the two people at that one protest, probably about a month ago at this point. Trump says, "Sure, I'm willing to do that." And so this is all happening very quickly, and they're all talking over one another. Trump says, "Sure, I'm willing to do that." Chris Wallace says, "Are you prepared specifically to do it?" Trump says, I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing." Chris Wallace says, "But what are you saying?" He said, "I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace." Chris Wallace says, "Well, do it, sir." Joe Biden says, "Say it, do it." This is where it's important right here. In this transcript, it says, Trump says, "What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a name. Go ahead. Who do you want me to condemn?" Chris Wallace says, and as Chris Wallace is saying this, Joe Biden is talking over him. Chris Wallace says, "White supremacists and right-wing militia." Joe Biden, when he says that, says Proud Boys, which, you know who the Proud Boys are?
No.
The Proud Boys, Gavin McInnes, he was one of the co-founders of Vice. People consider him a right-wing extremist, and he had kind of a group of people that supported him that were going and basically fighting Antifa in different protests and stuff in the past. They would go and physically fight them. Okay. And they are considered fascist because Antifa is considered anti-fascist. So anyone that would stand up against Antifa would have to be fascist. Logically, right?
Yeah, sure.
No, not logically. But in this transcript, it does not have that Joe Biden says Proud Boys over Chris Wallace saying white supremacists and militia groups. It skips that. It next goes to Trump saying Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left. This is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing problem. So them leaving out the fact that Biden shouted Proud Boys in this transcript, and this being the first one that you pull up on Google, is an issue because it makes it look like Donald Trump has a group of people that back him that are racist, that are white supremacists, and that they're called the Proud Boys. So it insinuates that Donald Trump knows who they're talking about.
Yeah.
And he tells them, stand back and stand by, which that's where the controversy socially is coming from. Why does he say stand back and stand by and not to stand down? I think that's probably what he meant. It's hard for me even to imagine Donald Trump saying, "Hey, militia and right-wing extremists, just hang back and I'll holler at you if because that's kind of what stand by insinuates." But it's a big deal right now that he wasn't willing to say that about white supremacists and militia groups. My opinion, if you go back and listen to it, my opinion is that Joe Biden's voice through the stream, at least, was louder than Chris Wallace saying white supremacists and militia groups when Joe Biden says the words Proud Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And it moved so fast that, I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to defend the guy, but, he does. There are a group of fifth supporters. It's
certainly odd that they wouldn't include it in a transcript.
Yeah, it's very, especially the first one that comes up, So, I want to look also, go ahead to the next transcript. Same site. And this is where, this is the part that I was talking about Joe Biden. So go back a bit. Okay, stop. So they're talking about Baltimore, and how violent that was. So Biden says, "Oh my Lord." Trump says, "But the reason." Biden interrupts, "This is ridiculous." Yada, yada, yada. Trump says, after a couple more little interruptions, "Don't want to talk like you about law and order." Joe Biden says, "Violent crime." Trump says, "And you still haven't mentioned, are you in favor of law and order?" And Joe Biden says, "I'm in favor of law." He gets interrupted. "Are you in favor of law and order?" You ask a question, let him finish. Chris Wallace, scroll down some. So a little bit more of that. Back and forth. And then Joe Biden finally says, "Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly." So, I mean, Trump brings up a interesting point. There is a large portion of the left right now that do have socialist and Marxist ideology. There are a lot of them that want to tear down policing and some of these old law systems that have been in place for a very long time. And so for Joe Biden at all, even with saying law and order with justice and for people to get treated fairly, there is just a large portion of the left that is against law and order, period. So it'll be interesting to see how that statement affects his campaign within the next, we're a month and a couple days away at this point. So it'll be interesting. Have any comments on any of that?
Well, just like, that's the thing though, is like, they can't get Trump to say, something, that's gonna change the people who are voting, his votes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if he comes out and is like, and straight up they get him to be like, "I think that the protesting is beneficial."
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that the people who are, who are going to be voting for him aren't, are the people who are like, "Yeah, the protesting's fine." Yeah. But the rioting, see, that's where they lose. And what happens is you've got Biden, for some reason, who's supposed to represent a huge, way more diversity. That's why I feel like it's true. That I feel like that's why Trump, he keeps being like, you're losing the left.
Yeah.
And he's like, even more people are moving to the right. Like, even people who are, I guess, center left or whatever are finding themselves
more center right.
Yeah.
That's
just, the reality is that, like, there's all this crazy stuff happening and people just don't want the chaos.
Yeah.
And that's that's the whole situation, where if he were even to come out and be like, if he were to come out and start, openly like supporting this Black Lives Matter thing, he could do that and still get the votes, because he would just keep the same, like, yeah, protest, that's great.
Yeah.
Stop burning stuff down.
Yeah. And you're completely right about that. I know.
But Biden could not. Biden, I don't think if Biden came out and was like, "All right, these riots need to stop," he would lose all the people who were going to vote for him.
I know a few, hardcore Trump supporters in town here that
Sure.
if you go to all of these protests that are happening for the stimulus act downtown, they're down there. The Save the Children marches, they're down there. Every time, multiple times a week, sometimes, and those people are against the Black Lives Matter protests because of what happened. I mean, look, the march that happened here happened days after we all got to watch things burn in Minnesota and people get the shit beat out of them in Denver.
Well, I'm gonna say the same thing. I've kept saying. These people who the left hate and call far right wing, like these, they're like I am positive that there are some militia groups out there who are a bunch of racist dudes out, on their buddies' land shooting guns and stuff. It's there.
Yeah. I grew up with a bunch of them.
Exactly. But they lump all these people into the same category. These militia groups, these people who are pro Second Amendment. Dude, we had the protests in Virginia.
Yeah, the gunnery.
Where everyone was strapped, dude. Yeah. Everyone looked like they were
Hawaiian
out of
shirts.
Yes. It looked like they were straight out of a militia.
Yeah.
Dude, and no one got hurt. Nobody. But we're going to show up and we're going to protest, in these big cities, and we're burning stuff down, beating people near to death. People are getting shot. Yeah. All this stuff. It's because it's not a protest at that point. And that's my thing is the left. This is my thing right here. They're hurting themselves because they're taking this course of violence. And they call anyone on the right racist and dangerous, right? When on these people who are the center right, they're the ones who even further right, pretty conservative people like what you're saying. They're protesting because they believe in the First Amendment and the right to freedom of speech. And if they would just not. There's a lot of hate. There's so much hate from the left when they want to talk about how everyone, people need to be more accepting. We need love and equality. All the hate, it's just pouring out onto all these protests, and they're hurting their ability to reach the people of America and really of the world, but specifically to reach people here in America. Because all these people who they hate, who are on the right, who believe in, freedom of speech, would be like, I would show up to a protest for like Black Lives Matter type stuff, but if it was constructive, instead it's destructive.
Yeah.
It's not helping people.
Yeah.
Yes, you have everyone's attention, but now everyone's just pissed off at you. You get what I'm saying? Now just people don't like you.
Yeah. And even
it hurts their ability to actually share their message and reach people.
Yeah. For people like me where I'm not as spry as I used to be. I've dealt with some injury in the last
not trying to get hit by a brick or something.
Well, not only that, but it's like, it's the movement is something that Black Lives Matter. Yeah, let's go out there and protest, but like I said, days leading up to it, I can feel the tension in Denver from here. And it's like, I don't, going out there and doing that is something that I wasn't interested in just because, I mean, dude, if I were to get tear gassed or something like that, guess what happens? I'm in the tear gas. I can't run away fast. I can't, I mean,
for sure.
It just is what it is. So, I mean, I wanted to tell you this, there are on both sides, what you're talking about. People, and I think that this happens a lot. There are misjudgments and miscommunication, and rumors get spread, and it sucks. So within the last couple of weeks, I filmed an event here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we live in a city that is rich in Southern history.
Sure.
So it was a constitutional walk to some of the monuments around here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm filming, and so I can't pay attention to every single thing that's happening around me.
Yeah.
We get done filming. Callie's out there doing some photography. We're walking and we're just chatting, and somebody behind us goes, "Hey, sorry to interrupt, but he basically just wanted to talk about the event." And it was an older man, and at one point he brings up to me that a guy with a Black Lives Matter flag on his back and a M4 started like trying to follow our group around at one point.
Oh.
And he like had made a comment about it, like, "Oh yeah, well, it is Second Amendment. You can do whatever you want," but he framed it like this was a guy that was in opposition to what we were doing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. We took the pictures, so I got to look at the pictures.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that. It was a guy who was with us exercising his Second Amendment right with whatever his nationality flag was on his back.
Yeah.
He was a large black man with dreadlocks, and it looked like it didn't look like a Jamaican flag, but it looked like it was a whatever flag.
Yeah.
So he was there for the event.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. He was there for the second one too.
Yeah.
Because there was two in a row. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, here's a guy who is making a judgment based on.
Well, even that is more so is I feel like is further proving my point, where what I'm trying to say is you've got these far left and far right who are so polar opposite of each other, right? That see everybody that, like, here's the line, right? Here's the line. And they see everyone as being, if you're far left, you see anyone that crosses that threshold to the right, they're in the far right. Far right sees anyone who crosses that line into the the left, far left. And the reality is that doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. People are too different. There's too much diversity for that to make sense.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I said. Left and right are strictly based off of your perspective.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Everyone feels like they're right. Everyone feels like they're in the middle, that they're this balanced whatever. And so anyone to the left of them is left and anyone to the right of them is right. And they're using themselves as this reference point, which doesn't work. You get what I'm saying? Like for me growing up, I had friends who I was like, wow, they're really conservative. Like, like they're growing up, you can play 15 minutes on the Wii on Saturday. Yeah. The rest of the time we're going to be,
you're reading your Bible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or doing, we're going to be reading through some like, ancient history. Yeah. We got the girls are wearing the long jean skirts.
Yeah. All of them matching.
Yeah, they're all looking the same. They got their hair. They don't cut their hair. Like all this stuff. And then like they look at me and like I'm just regular, I guess. I'm going around. I wear whatever I want. I mean, I've got a hoodie on that says thick boy. Like, dude, if I had this in even like middle school and high school, like the families around would have been like, what? Yeah. You're what? Yeah. And it's just like they saw me as this some like, person who's real liberal compared to them. But it's like I still like I have guns. I go shoot. Like I like the ability to do that. I enjoy that freedom. But to them, I'm still, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's just...
You wear a hoodie that says, Jesus is my boyfriend.
Yes. People would have lost their minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So I mean, and that's why I told you that story, is because it went along with what you're saying. But it was just blatant, like, hey man, this, like, now what we're getting to is the issue that we are having here.
Yeah.
So the real reason that you think that this guy is a Black Lives Matter guy,
because he's black.
Yeah, that's why you think that he's in opposition of us,
which is just silly.
Yeah, and I also looked back at the picture, and it was an AR-15, not a M4.
Yeah. Well, those, it's fine. We don't have to get into it.
So
people, and here's the thing. When I say this, people are always like, I don't think that's true. People like to be upset about stuff. Yeah. They like to feel justified in their actions. Okay? They don't want to be wrong. You get what I'm saying? That's just true. You may not like to be angry. I don't think people enjoy being upset, but people like to be right and feel like they are justified in what they're doing. And there is such a lack of understanding and grace and compassion for each other, even though we all live in the same country. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not saying, hey, he's old. Let the guy, let him think what he wants to think. Like, obviously be like, dude, what are you talking about? Look at him. Yeah. Challenge people. It's like, look at him. Really? You think this guy's you think he's here to stop us? He's at, he's here.
Yeah.
So
at one of the widest things that somebody can do.
Yeah.
I will give him that. Maybe that was his judgment. It's like Constitution Day walks are it's a pretty white pastime.
But why?
I don't know.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I
know.
But
why? Isn't it all of ours?
Yeah. It is,
and that's,
for sure.
And that's the thing is people talk about, like, the laws were never designed to protect black people. It's like, hey, the Constitution applies to you.
Yeah.
Not take advantage of it, abuse it. Take advantage of it, like, take that, dude. That's for you. You're an American. That's for you. That is there to protect you. And that's, for me, that's why it's like, if we want to talk about the police officers aren't protecting and serving the way that they should, that's a very different situation from the Constitution. You get what I'm saying? Like, people throw all of, like you were saying, like when he was like, he can't even say law and order. It's like people throw all this, like all the laws, all of everything into one, like, we just need to get rid of it. Yeah. We just need to do, let's do something different. When the reality is that and not to say that stuff doesn't need to be updated over time and, things change, but like when our police officers actually do their job, and that's what they're there for, is to protect and to serve. And at that point, we just, like, the question is, okay, well, obviously, if we've got people who are out here, and there are police officers, because I have, did you ever go, when we were attending service in Pooler?
Did I ever go what?
To church in Pooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember there was the one officer guy who always open carried everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the last person I would want to give a gun to.
Yeah.
Like, that's my point, is like, there are people who join because they're just a little too excited to get to use that gun.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
And then you end up working for, working a Brinks truck.
Yeah. That's my point, is the evaluation process of people getting to be a police officer is a little bit, probably, I think that's where the problem lies.
Yeah.
Because if you just had, just like good, like, people who their goal is to protect and to serve, not themselves, but the people, that's where it's like, oh, well, that's good. And then you get the people who are like, well, I'm just looking to, like, exercise my right to defend myself. That's a little... Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So it's just...
Dude, Brinks, like the...
Maybe he's working for Delia.
Armor truck guys, how much, like, they're the most NPC depicted people throughout history of, like, film and stuff, if you think about it. Like, what's more... They always get shot immediately,
for sure,
or tied up.
Yeah.
You see them for, like, 2 seconds, and it's like... it's kind of funny.
Well, it's because that's all they have to do to steal all the money.
Yeah, exactly.
You gave a guy a pistol and kind of a bulletproof vest.
But even whenever you see him in person, it's like, oh, one of these guys.
This is what you did, dude. You gave some guy a gun, a big white truck, and maybe a radio, and we're like, hey, go handle thousands and thousands of dollars. Go ahead.
And everybody,
you're gonna walk into that Chipotle. You're gonna get the thing.
Yeah.
You're gonna take it back to the truck.
Yeah, and you know that everybody on the planet at some point has seen one of those people and thought, like, this is what I would do to get that, to get this truck. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Dude, I've been walking past one at Target, dude. While I'm walking into Target, the truck's just open and the bag's sitting there, and I'm just like,
yeah, and they're nowhere to be found.
Yes,
there is a guy in there like playing on his phone,
and I'm just like,
okay, we got a little bit more to do with this, and then we'll close it out. So, the last thing they talked about was, or really the only thing that they talked about policy wise in depth at all was climate change. And so Trump brings up the Green New Deal and how Biden supports that. And Biden basically says, no, the more or less that the Green New Deal is not his thing. It does play a part. But I wanted to go over what the Green New Deal is for people who don't know before we start kind of digging into what the two candidates had said. So this is it right here. So in a nutshell, this is Green New Deal resolution. Senator Edward Markey and Representative AOC released a 14-page resolution. And now Green New Deal has been a thing. It's one of those things that's passed through Congress over the years. So this isn't something that they invented. February 7, 2019, the approach pushes for transitioning the United States to use 100% renewable, zero-emission energy sources, including investment into electrical cars and high-speed rail systems, and implementing the social costs of carbon that has been a part of the Obama administration plans for addressing climate change within 10 years. Besides increasing state-sponsored jobs, the Green New Deal also aimed to address the poverty by aiming much of the improvements in the frontline vulnerable communities, which include poor and disadvantaged people. To gain additional support, the resolution includes calls for universal health care, increased minimum wages, and preventing monopolies. So, of course, within a packaged bill for something that we cannot control, which would be climate change, and I say we cannot control as a loose statement, at this point is something that's much harder to control than it was a couple hundred years ago because of technology. But of course it's politicized, and you have stuck in there, the normal Democratic stuff, universal health care, increased minimum wage, all that stuff. So that's the reason that people don't take this thing seriously.
That's such bullcrap to me, and not just not to say like from the left, but in general, left or right, dude. If you're trying to promote something that's supposed to deal with a problem, hey, have it do that.
Yeah,
have the thing do the thing it's supposed to. We don't need the cup holders on it. We don't need the extra pockets. Yeah. Just make it, we don't need a lawnmower with a fan on it. Just make the lawnmower.
That ironically is Trump's plan with this thing. So what ends up
pack stuff into it?
Yeah. Well, basically what Biden says is, hey, his plan is, and Trump goes through it. It's a 1 point something trillion spending over a 10-year period in which they would retrofit buildings and factories and all this stuff to
help bring back
this green new thing.
Yeah, to help bring jobs back over here.
Yeah. Well, no. Not what I was talking about yesterday. That's not what this is.
Oh.
He's talking about houses, factories, businesses that are already in the U.S. Sure. Hey, Trump brings it up in some places. They have to tear down the stuff.
You're saying
rebuilding.
Trump is talking about rebuilding.
No. Biden
Is talking about
Biden.
rebuilding stuff that we already have.
Yes, and Trump is going, that's too much money, that's too much. Here's the thing, and we kind of had this conversation, or you overheard, I can't remember, you were there or whatever.
Oh, I didn't contribute, I was just listening.
Yeah, I was listening to a guy named Lex Friedman a couple days ago, his podcast, and they were kind of talking about extinction, how these different civilizations reach a point of kind of, if you will, inventor's block, and technology stays where it is. It ceases to move forward, and then they are unable to deal with the conditions that happen that are uncontrollable within the world.
Well, not even just that, but even just other nations surpassing them.
Yeah, exactly. So what, what you were talking about with, in my opinion, there's no preventing this from happening if we want technology to continue to move forward. At some point, solar energy will be something that is legitimate, yada, 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 all that stuff. I think that within the COVID crisis, now if that energy were available, or, if you will, or the technology to prepare it would be so lines that can be ran, or, stuff set up, basically, if we're going to move businesses out that are outside of the U.S. back into the U.S., now would be a great time to build everything with newer technology.
And I don't love Trump.
Yeah.
I'm in the same situation. Like, I don't really like either of them. But I will say him always talking about we need to bring businesses back into America. We need to bring, I think that's great. Yeah. I do. I don't see why if we really do want to be proud of being American, if we want this label of we're America, we innovate, we lead we're leading the world in a sense. Not, you get what I'm saying? If we really do want to be the greatest nation, we need to be the greatest nation. Yeah. We need this stuff happening here. We don't need to be, these companies, it's cheaper to do it over there. Yeah. You know what else? You got kids working in, sweatshops. I
mean, you're right. And that's a big issue whenever it comes to
and unemployment, dude. You're making jobs. Not to say that that directly affects it, because obviously unemployment isn't a result of there not being jobs. Yeah. But at the point where there's more diversity of work and availability, it just gives people more options. It opens that up, and it makes it. I personally, and I'm not an expert, so I could be wrong, but I feel like it would make it a lot easier to get jobs when there is more to pick from, Yeah. If we've only got, if well-paying jobs around here is, if you think about working in fast food, right?
Yeah.
You're not making a lot of money. You're making minimum wage, But if you think about working for some big company like Gulfstream, well, you have to have schooling for that. You have to, you got to know what you're doing, all this stuff to get that job. So when we bring jobs back over, so even if you think about working in in the food industry, most people don't stay working in fast food, right? Yeah. Even if they, they work that temporarily, or maybe they do stay, but most of the time when you stay in a job like that, the idea of getting a pay raise, getting a promotion, stuff like that, working your way up to the position of being a manager. Well, now you have all this experience, right? You didn't even have to go to school, and you could start your own restaurant. You see what I'm saying? It creates it creates the opportunity for people to grow inside of different industries. So when we have jobs available for people, it's the same thing with me. It's I have not been to film school. I probably would not be able to make a very good movie right now. You get what I'm saying? I don't have the experience, but I have experience from doing it. So when we create these opportunities for people to have diversity of work, then we create more opportunity for people to grow and to work their way up and achieve, their goals.
Yeah. I mean, part of what I'm talking about would, it wouldn't necessarily produce that immediately, but it would help with some of the poverty issues. If someone like Elon Musk were to take a place like Detroit, where crime rate is super high, it used to be basically the automobile manufacturing place in the U.S. There's all of these old buildings and stuff like this.
Tesla,
Well, or not even that. Let's try and figure out how to retrofit these old buildings to use clean energy, and then move Tesla in there, then move pharmaceutical back to the U.S. Then, and infrastructure building is something that would create a lot of jobs. It doesn't create job diversity, but in a place like Detroit that's poverty stricken, you can go to training for a year to be an electrician, and then you've got a job.
You've got job security.
Retrofitting these buildings for the next 20 years or so.
I'm gonna stick by what I said before. I don't think that needs to necessarily be a part of this, but I think that it can be a result of this. You get what I'm saying? If we have this initiative to upgrade and update, our current facilities, then that just promotes. That leaves it open for people to move their stuff back over here. And it's not, I don't like the sneakiness of we'll put this in here and we'll slip that in there and we'll make it 75 million pages long so no one wants to read through it.
Well, that's the reason that we don't have another stimulus package. That's literally is the reason.
And that's my thing is we could get so much more done if you would just realize that hey, now's not the time. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not everything has to be political. Yeah. Some things can just be good. Yeah. Some things can just be, let's do this because it's good for our people.
Yeah. And, I would just say his plan, if you go to the Biden website, it's a 10-year plan similar to the Green New Deal.
Sure.
That does it's just stuff like this is going to take a lot longer than 10 years, and a lot more money than 1.3 trillion. But if we want,
yes, and no, I really feel like we overcomplicate everything by making everything political. If we, let's imagine a private firm had this plan to go in and start offering to just redo these factories, right?
Yeah.
It would happen super fast. It would just happen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's not this division in our leader. There wouldn't be division in the leadership. You get what I'm saying?
But the problem with that is that they're talking about 100% being on 100% reusable energy.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I mean we do, but
we got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but 100% can't happen in 10 years.
No, but we don't need to hit 100%. If we even just did one, that's progress. You get what I'm saying? We get hung up over. I don't know.
The problem is that the technology is just not quite there yet.
Yeah, but
it's almost there.
Yeah, but how else is it gonna get there without us using it? There has to be stuff. The people who are developing that tech, right? Yeah. If we don't buy that tech that they have now and start using it, where are they going to get the money to keep developing it?
I mean, you're right, but that type of thing has to happen for the cost of that tech to get lower. Corporations have to buy it, not individuals. Corporations have to start. Amazon has to go green, and
well, that's my point. Is if we start implementing stuff like regulations on hey, because we've done it before. I mean, cars are made different now than they were originally because we have regulations that that these corporations have to meet. You get what I'm saying? If we just started going, hey, if you what is it, carbon, if your carbon footprint or whatever, your corporations, if you're outputting more than X amount of whatever. Like you have to bring it, like you have to start implementing these clean energy sources. You know, that's the same thing with cars. There is like when they test them, there is only a certain amount of, I don't even remember what it's called. What do cars put out in exhaust?
Like carbon output or whatever.
Yeah, like they measure that, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to meet legal qualifications. So if a company is putting, you know, if their carbon footprint's bigger than X amount, well, then you have to restrict it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that would make it to where, hey, we're not going to pay for this for you. But if you want to, Amazon, if you want to continue to be running as many trucks and vans as you run on a regular basis, you're going to have to figure out a better source of energy.
So Trump's stance on this basically is, hey, we're spending too much money on making vehicles more efficient with computers and stuff like that to squeeze these 2 extra miles per gallon. If we would make more cars, more baseline, lose a lot of the computer technology, they would be on average $3,500 less, and more Americans would be able to purchase them, therefore having more funds for the tech to move forward to do something about this whole thing in the future.
Which is great if we move forward and do it. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Otherwise, we just make it worse. So, and here's my thing. If we have, you know, if we're doing a capitalism, right? Hey, let's let the corporations make the country better. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Let's make it instead of seeing these big corporations as enemies all the time, because I really do think that the people who run these companies are selfish and want money. But if we can't give them rules that they have to play by that are beneficial, then, you know, instead of punishing them, the same idea of like, hey, you have this many, you know, trucks that you are running. Well, you got to figure out a way to make it clean energy. Well, then that company is paying these other companies. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the money's just moving. Things are getting made, being developed. These clean sources of energy are being implemented. And not even that, like if we could even find a way to make it to where that sort of, you know, and that's where it comes into like a competitive market where it's like, hey, Amazon comes over and they're like, yeah, we could pay this company this much money, but there's this other company over here that is willing to do a deal with it. Like it opens up for people to for the money to actually be moving. And that part of the problem is because of the fact that we let people have their companies in other parts of the world where they don't have to pay the same, like taxes aren't the same. Yeah. That's our money going over there. There should be regulations about, like, you get what I'm saying? Like instead of it being, we just need to tax them. We need to, you know, everyone's that, you know, the right is like, well, we need to protect our market. We need to protect our companies. And then the left is like, we need to tax the rich and all this stuff. Yeah. And it's like, dude, hey, what if we just made it better? What if we met in the middle and we found a way to where these companies want to be here? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. They want to be here. Yeah. That's how we'll grow.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens, man. It's it'll be interesting to see. The next debate is with Pence and Kamala Harris. So like I said, dude, a little over a month until election day, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So hopefully everybody that watched this, hopefully everybody that watched this thing, don't forget it. You know, we desperately need candidates that are
better,
looking out for our citizens' best interest, and you know, neither of these guys really feel like that's what they're doing. You know, so go out and vote. You know, vote for, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know who to tell you to vote for. I wouldn't say my suggestion would be the best anyway. I want to vote for whoever Ghislaine Maxwell is not voting for. You know what I'm saying? She's got to suck up to both of them. You know, she's got to like both of them. But it's like whichever one she chooses, dude, that's the one that she's got the videotape, you know. So I'm going to go with the other one. But, yeah, so you had a story that you wanted to tell about a YouTube video.
Oh, I'm mad.
Yeah, what is it?
All right, so you know Trey.
Yeah.
His little cousin, Zach.
Yeah.
One day was like, y'all should go check out my new YouTube video. I uploaded it today. He's like 12.
Yeah.
And it gets like 20.
It's called Cheetos and Fish Sticks.
Yeah, basically. It's like 20 something views. Like,
yeah.
Or it may have been more than that. I don't remember really. But we go check it out, like it and all that. And then Trey just jokingly is like, well, I'm starting a YouTube channel and I'm going to get more views than you, was his whole thing. So he does it and he only uploads. This is how his YouTube videos are made, right? We're just doing something.
Yeah. What's up?
That's it. That long. That's how long they are. 5 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
Uploads them with a random title.
Yeah.
Dude, he put one of me on his YouTube channel of me saying, it's 5 seconds long. I said, what is this, TikTok? He named it Dragon Age Origins Walkthrough Part 7. It has 1.2, dude, 1.2 thousand views in 2 weeks.
Dude.
And we're getting 60 on a good day?
Yeah.
YouTube is messing with me for sure.
Yeah. I've known that for a minute.
Messing with me.
Maybe that's just the kind of stuff we should start naming our.
How is that?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I've never gotten that many views on a YouTube video.
Caitlyn Jenner goes to the flea market. That's what I'm going to name this episode.
We should start doing that and just see what happens.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely clickbait.
Yeah.
The title and the picture have nothing to do with the episode at all.
Yeah. Yeah. We Photoshop a picture of Caitlyn Jenner at the flea market. Yeah, it's discouraging, man. Sometimes it is. I mean, I don't think I've talked about it on the show yet. Switch to me real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't think I've talked about it on the show yet, but I have been experiencing some hardcore burnout just with, and not burnout as in I'm not interested in creating content as much anymore. It's more that just the political climate and stuff that's going on. It's just rough. It's taken a little bit of a toll on me, and so I haven't paid as much attention to it lately as I typically do. I haven't dived deep on anything, and a couple things, that are the reason behind that is that there's, reason has just been thrown out of the window by both political sides. In my opinion, that's one thing. The other thing is the QAnon movement and the discredit. Here's the thing: conspiracy theory. The words conspiracy theory, or the phrase rather, is something that I hate because it has people have such a negative perspective on what it is. They think aliens. They think Bigfoot. They think that kind of stuff. First and foremost, which that doesn't even fall into the conspiracy world. That would be more like cryptozoology. A conspiracy is two people, more than one person, getting together and deciding to do something, whether it be good or bad. And so conspiracy theory is the theories on what these groups of people have decided to do. In the process, nowadays, a lot of that stuff is confirmed or denied quickly. QAnon, that movement, is something that I liked at first because it seemed like a lot of people were starting to wake up. Now you have members of the truth community, people some people believe that the earth is flat. Okay. Some people believe that we never went to the moon. I believe that we live in, a simulation, probably. That doesn't make any of the stuff that we experience less real. We don't know anything other than that, but that's the kind of stuff. And we have these people trusting the president, Donald Trump, to have a plan, and that all of these elites, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, the Clintons, all the Hollywood people, all of the Corona is a ploy to get everybody to stay inside so that they can safely arrest all of these elites. Okay? Like the public has access to all these people to get in the way of them arresting them on a regular day.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were walking down River Street and saw passed Hillary Clinton?
I think it might never. I think.
No. So it just further discredits, especially in today's climate. They go, "Oh, it's Trump, the QAnon is Trump supporters," and it just gets dismissed.
Yeah.
It devalues and discredits what conspiracy theories are, and it's
disrespectful is what it is.
It's a group of,
maybe it's on purpose. Maybe people are planted,
that's the other
dude.
thing. It could be controlled opposition. It could be any of that stuff. It could, Q could very well be some 42-year-old guy living in a studio apartment, eating top ramen for dinner every night. Nobody knows who it is. And so with that, I just got, discouraged for a bit whenever it comes to diving deep and some of that stuff. I have another project starting up within the next couple of weeks. It's another podcast that won't necessarily happen every week or on a schedule. We decided that we wanted to start doing some really deep dives on relevant topics in today's society. And so this will be with Skinny Rick's dad and I, with Skinny Rick producing.
Senior Rick, they call him.
Senior Rick.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. But other than that, you ready to go?
Sure.
Cool. Let's go ahead and get out of here. So if you want to follow us on social media, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at TBAT Quinn.
Mine is at TBATSKINERICK. Skynrick on Twitter. Follow me for not political reasons.
Yeah.
Just don't follow me in person.
Yeah, clean humor is what we got over here. No political on the Skinny Rick page. No titter. None of that.
Yeah. I don't do titter, dude.
Yeah. So
I don't like it. But apparently, so I only have 15 or 16 followers, and I've had 15 for like a year.
Yeah.
Because I got them all right at the beginning of when I created the channel. Dude, and then out of nowhere, some random person off Titter just followed me, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
That's
like, doesn't interact with my stuff. Like, it's probably just a bot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I'll take it.
Great.
Yeah. We'll go, dude. Let's get out of here, man. Thank y'all for watching again, and we will see y'all next time.